Hello, hello. I'm not sure if I'm live. I haven't done this before. So I'm here by myself. Lloyd actually is at the store doing a Reiki class. And so I thought I could either be like totally responsible by doing my work, which is great, or I could be completely irresponsible. And so I decided I was going to be completely irresponsible, but I'll be responsible later. Just to let you know, good morning, everybody. It's really interesting because I just wanted to share this a little bit. My clients, people that are reaching out to me, it's really amazing because one thing I've learned about this year of 2020 is that it has uncovered the veil that we kind of have been hiding behind for a while. And that's created a lot of change in people. It's created a lot of fear in people. But all I know is whatever is going on with you right now, whatever your response to what's going on is, it's always been there. So it's just amazing. Like all these people that have been coming for reads, I noticed that they've made some really significant changes. Powerful changes, and I just want to celebrate that. I mean, we can stay where we're at, which we know, which perhaps we're not happy, or we can be really brave and make a decision to sort of step out of our fear and do something completely different. And so I want to honor all of you that are making those little tiny, beautiful, amazing steps that have the ability to change your life, like absolutely change your life. And I mean, it's just, I just want to send all of that out to all of you, and make a little change, no matter what it is. Like, hey, I'm not doing the dishes right after we eat. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to leave them. The world isn't going to fall apart if you do. Or, you know, maybe you'll pick up the phone and sort of reconnect with someone that you're, you know, having some issues with, and just be able to talk about those issues. So I want to really encourage you, like me, here I am. Lloyd isn't here, and I'll miss his bell. But you know what? I made the decision I was going to do something a little different, and so I woke up this morning and I sort of thought, that's kind of cool. The other thing, there was a post that I put out on our Facebook page. If you have 3 minutes, you should go and look at it. It is so beautiful and so amazing and so heartfelt and so transparent and emotional. And it's all about, I just said to people, don't put, you know, say something to someone, but don't use their name. Just send out a message, and the messages were just incredible and beautiful. So I want, and I'm going to leave it up there. So if you feel inspired to add something, it, you know, like the messages, like they spoke to me. So many of them spoke to me personally, which I just thought was very, very cool. So again, doing the live feed, I'm just going to be here. My phone kind of blew up. I didn't expect that, but thank you very much for your interest. Same thing, I want you just to turn down your sound. And you know, if you have a pen and a piece of paper, I'm going to be doing some past life connection with my new deck that I'm working on. Hopefully we're going to be able to have the deck prepared for people for Christmas. I'm very, very excited about it. So I'll be working with that deck. If you have a very specific question that you want answered, you can text. I'll get it to as many as I can. But I just thought I'd pop on and have some fun this morning. So good morning. I don't know how to work the screen like Lloyd does, so I'm just going to welcome who's here, and we're going to get started. The first person I'm going to be reading for is Tammy. So I'm going to be calling her. So, oh, is my sound up? I don't know if my sound is up. Yes. first person's not answering.
You have reached.
Oh, okay, let me just make sure that I have the right number. I think I do. Yes, I think I do. 2. Okay, I'm going to go to the second person on my page. Lloyd does such an amazing job for me. I have to remind myself to worship him even more, if that is possible. We're going to be calling Christy.
Good afternoon.
Hi, is this Christy?
Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm great, thank you very much. Thank you for texting in. Could you spell your name for me?
It's Christie.
Wow, so you're a fairly independent person.
Okay, yeah.
Which means that, I mean, you're a person that is very self-motivated, self-directed, you know what you like. It's not that you're not a warm person, it's just that you don't lean on other people. Like you have a deep sense of what it is that you need and that you want in your life.
Yes.
Yes, and not only that, that you have this beautiful charismatic energy that people are just drawn to you. Like you could just be sitting by yourself and people are just attracted to your energy and you kind of draw them in, but they're just naturally drawn to you, and that they definitely get a sense of inspiration from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that you are a bridge. So this means that you're the energy of the dove, which is a messenger. So you're an active bridge. It isn't as though you just sit around and, you know, you actually get involved. Like you're a person that absolutely wants that connection, and so you step in when you believe you need to.
For better or worse, yes, that's true.
Yeah, and like for you, there's always another question. You know, you have this curiosity inside of you, and this deep curiosity, you question a lot of what's going on in your world and what's going on with the people and the people that are in your life, that you have a deep intimacy, not with a lot of people, but the ones that you do, you really do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I have your date here, so 1977.
Yeah.
And so this lets me know that you have the energy of a sponge. And I call the people that have the number 6 in their aspects. They're like poets. They see beauty in the tiniest things. They notice the tiniest things. They're very sentimental, and they tend to absorb the energy of the people that they love. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt in my mind that for you, any type of loss or heartbreak is very, very deeply felt. And when you're hurting for something that's going on in your life, that it surfaces all the other pain from other lifetimes. Like, does that make sense?
Well, you're gonna make me.
It's true. And so just so you know, I want you just to know, Christine, that you came to this life very sensitive, and that you're very easily wounded, and then you take things personally, and part of it is sort of like the residual of a past life heartbreak that your soul has never really recovered from. And so one thing I definitely would do, and I'm all about, I'm going to be making, we're sold out in the store right now, but I'm going to be making some rose oil. And rose for me just connects to love and light and forgiveness and this beautiful spiritual energy that's inside of us. And it's a very soothing thing. And so, you know, that's one thing I definitely would do if I were you. And this is if you see anything that is suffering, anything that is wounded, anyone who is crying, like for you, it just stimulates this emotion in a past life. So you're very, very sensitive. The one thing also I'd like to say about your past life is there's no doubt in my mind that you spent a a lot of your time in your mind. And so as a result of that, whether you were a leader, whether you were a researcher, whether you were somebody that was a scribe or a record keeper, and so there's kind of this where you've had to really work on your emotional development and sort of restoring yourself emotionally in this life. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, I love the energy of six. I mean, they're funny when they laugh. The whole room changes. I mean, they just have this incredible energy. And your eyes, I guarantee you, like your eyes are truly like the seeds of your soul. So for you, it's everything that you see has an importance. Everything that you feel has an importance. But one thing I definitely would do is I'd step back, because you don't have to absorb everything in order to kind of honor its beauty. Like, does that make sense?
Very much so.
Okay, and your month I have here is December. And,
Yeah.
and so for you, this is the seed energy. Like, you tell me a more amazing place on this earth that has the magic of creativity than the womb. And this is the energy of you. You are the nurturer. You are the seed energy. You are the mother. You are an intuitive. You're a person that just envelops people with your love and your compassion and your support. But I also have to make mention that you're a bit of a worrywart and that you have a tendency to, you know, the people that you love, you almost protect them so much that sometimes they just feel you're, you know, that you just get over involved. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like, I mean, do you have children?
I don't.
Yeah, and so like then even there, you know, just you would definitely have this nurturing. Like, if I were to ask the people that love you, they would tell me that you're like a mother to a lot of friends and to people in your family. And so it's just really interesting. Like, does that make sense to you?
Kind of.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a part of you that definitely is quite guarded, but then there's a part of you that just has all of this emotion. So you can't kind of be one or the other. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So something would have happened that would have created some sort of wound in you that would have, you know, just created almost like a caution in you. Let me just see what vibration you're in this year. Wow, you're in a really restorative year. This means is where you get to step back into your power. There's no doubt in a past life, there was a part of you that didn't want to really take responsibility for your own kind of personal development. It may have been that you were busy doing something else that required all of your attention. But this year for you is a very restorative year, and you're right on the cusp of a spiritual breakthrough. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And in the year 2018, what was going on with you in that year?
2018. No, I started my my new career.
Yes, and so what is your new career?
I'm a massage therapist.
Yeah, and see, I'm just here to say to you that there's no doubt in my mind that working with the body, you would just be so good, but you're an alchemist. So, you know, one thing I definitely would do before you have anyone sit on your, like get on your table, I definitely would just call in all of this energy, and it's just to shift and change everything. But it's almost as if you call it in just instead of acknowledging it. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
No.
What it means is it's kind of like a ritual. It's kind of like a ritual where you prepare to see the people that get on your table, because I guarantee you those people are trying to move through something, whether it's, you know, a car accident or whether it's some sort of loss or whatever it is, and your gift is being able to make that happen. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, and so that's why for you it'd be almost like you would just kind of love it. It's like where you just go into this kind of ritual of being able to have this energy flow through you. It comes from your crown all the way through your body and out your hands. And so if you sort of generate that sort of ritual prior to your treatments, I guarantee you won't attach to anything that you're working on. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I struggle with that. I'm like when you said
Yeah, and so that's why that ritual would be so beautiful for you. It's like, it's like, when you get into your car, this is what I say to people: when you're going to work, you get into your car and you just put yourself in an energy where are prepared to go to work. Then when you leave work at the end of the day, you just kind of let it all go, so you don't bring it into your house when you're done work. Like, does that make sense?
yeah, I've had to do a lot of work in terms of ridding myself of other people's energy and protecting myself.
Yeah. And so, it's just really good. 2012 would be a big year for you. And 2012,
I think, was my divorce.
okay. And just so you know, with your energies, like for you, most people that have the aspect of 3 and 6, like they don't get married to get divorced. Do you know what I mean? It's like they don't just marry anyone. So one thing I definitely would do if I were you, it's all about the vows. It's all about that kind of making that pledge, that vow. So one thing I definitely would do is just to release yourself from the vow, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a part of your soul, especially because of your past life, that you would just still feel married. Do you know what I mean? And so when that happens, then we don't really draw the person that is supposed to come into our life as a result of that. Another big year for you would be 2003, 1994, 1985,
okay,
and then 1976. So this would be just prior. So your soul wound would have happened in 85. Do you know what was going on with you then? Or your mother? You would have been 8 years old.
I think my mother was maybe trampled by a horse and almost died.
Okay. Just so you know, that's what's going on in your tummy. That soul memory, that soul trauma, that's why you just kind of clamp down. And so one thing that you can definitely do, and because you're this beautiful massage therapist, is you can actually imagine like working, like for you, I guarantee you, most people that come to see you will have issues in their tummies, and you'd be able to tell that because they would complain about it, or you would just be able to see it. And so I know, like I love massage and I go to massage therapy a lot and I love it. And one of the practitioners that I go to, like I swear this one session that I went to, all she worked on was my tummy. I couldn't believe it. And I got up off that table and sort of went, well, I miss the shoulders, and I miss all this. But it was probably one of the most impactful massages that I've ever experienced, because she was just shifting everything in my tummy, if that makes sense to you.
I don't see, so I have yet to give a abdominal massage, except to one pregnant woman.
Right.
And that was like 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But so actually, I see a lot of headaches. I see a lot of teachers who are very stressed out.
Yeah, and I guarantee you that that's the symptom. That's where it comes from. Like, that's where they're feeling the symptom. But it almost like, just try it. Like, just try it and say, like, think about it. When we are anxious, when we are triggered, the first thing that happens is we get a knot in our tummy.
Oh,
and,
okay, hold on. I've been teaching a ton of people lately how to diaphragmatic breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes in the belly.
Yes.
That you blow up your belly like a balloon is something I say very often.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is, it's just really neat. It's like it would be something just to consider trying, because I guarantee that most people that come to see you have anxiety, that it is fed from the stomach. It goes from the stomach to the heart to the mind, or it can go from the stomach to the mind to the heart. So that's why they're like that's why the symptom is kind of presenting itself in that way. But it would just be something for you to try. Like, you know yourself, when you get anxious, it goes for you, it goes right to your tummy.
True.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm just saying, like, that one massage that I got and all she did was focus on my tummy, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was just incredible to me. And so just to kind of put it out there, I'm going to draw 5 cards for you, okay?
Okay.
So the first card that I'm picking for you is this beautiful card about trust. And this can be about trusting yourself. It can be about trusting the world. It can be trusting you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this time and space. It's about allowing yourself to receive and know that you are deserving of receiving. So it really speaks that in a past life, there's no doubt in my mind that you had experienced a wounding that would have really created even more of a caution in you in this lifetime. So I want you just to, even create a beautiful mantra for yourself that I can trust in this world. I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm loved. I know that I'm, on a beautiful path. And so trust for you would definitely be an interesting mantra just to give yourself. Also, this is the occult. So in a past life, there's no doubt in my mind that you would have been a little bit out there, whether you worked with wizard energy, whether you were just a little bit different than the tribe, whether you saw things in a different light or a different perspective. There's no doubt that you would have been ahead of your time. So you would have questioned kind of whether you fit in, whether you belonged. And so this definitely would have come forward in a past life as well. Just having a little bit of this very unique kind of perspective that may have been very different than the people in your life. I'm going to draw another card for you.
So can we just pause there for a moment? Did you say, okay, so you know Bonnie Adam.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, so I had a Reiki session with her. I work with her.
Yes.
And I had a Reiki session with her, and she told me a very similar thing. In a past life, I had some kind of connection to the supernatural or the occult.
Yeah, and you want to know something? Bonnie Adam, to me, like, she is one of the most amazing people. Like, her and I go back years and years. She is a highly, highly intuitive girl, like big time powerful. So, I mean, all I know is that you bring magic. Like, if you look at the way that your clients come off their table, that will definitely let you know. But it's like this magician kind of shapeshifter energy that has the ability just to help people let go and release. And so that's, again, where I definitely would let you know that, that's where you'd want to kind of work. Here's your next card, and this is the card of heartbreak. So no doubt that you've had a heartbreak in a past life, that you're a very sensitive person to any type of wounding, that you take things personally. And so one thing I definitely, learned through my own recovery was that I don't take anything personally. Like, as long as I'm self-aware. I'm going to do another card for you. This is a hook. So this lets me know that you may have come here from a past life where there's someone or an experience that is hooked into your field. So what that would mean is, if you were to look at your spiritual patterns or your spiritual responses, that in fact, that it would be, it's where you're almost hooked in to do it, and you don't feel like you have a lot of power to come away from it. So just so you know, if you find that you're a person that gets a little bit stuck in your head, where you just feel that you obsess about certain things, I guarantee that if you were to scan your body, that in fact, that you would find that there is a hook there somewhere. Your last card is this card of liberation. So this lets me know that you're in a place, and this is definitely going to come in more next year, where you just get to liberate yourself, whether it's from your history, whether it's from doubt, whether it's from worry, whether it's from any type of injury that is unresolved. It's like at the end of the day, you know, everything that we experience in this life is an opportunity for us to learn about who we are deep down inside. So this is a year where you'll be really feeling a sense of liberation. And going back to when you're 8 years old, I mean, how amazing is that? So just so you know, I do believe perhaps in a past life you may have lost your mother at 8 years old, and so it would have just, you know, resurfaced all of that potential fear or dread of loss. Okay, did you enjoy your reading, Christine?
Yes, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So like just do the work and try and do the ritual and just try and see. You know, I know you're very intuitive in that a lot of your messages just come from you being able to look at people and seeing them. So, I mean, just say to a couple of people, hey, I'm trying this, you know, would you be open to it? Or, and I mean, just see if that shifts things for you even more.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. And say hi to Bonnie for me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, love, bye-bye. Yeah, Bonnie Adam, I just love that girl. She's just an amazing, she has this beautiful energy, and I've known her forever. Okay, so now I gotta go here. I gotta go back here. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna go back to Tammy. I miss my little Lloyd and his bell. I'll never complain about the bell again. Never.
Hello.
Hi, is this Tammy?
This is me.
Can you spell your name for me, love?
First name is Tami.
Okay. And so what's, I'll just go for the first name during this reading. So if you look at your first letter, and this is the cornerstone letter, and you look at it, it's a T. So this lets me know that, I mean, that you have a bit of perfectionist in you, that you're hard on yourself, that you're very driven, that you're ambitious, that you're a leader, like an absolute leader in your life, and that how you're perceived definitely has an impact. Then your second letter, which is the soul essence letter, is an A, and this lets me know again that you're a humanitarian and a leader, and so you're a bit of a peacekeeper, and you try to help when there's conflict. You try to help and resolve it. Then your last letter, which is the capstone letter, this is the letter I, which means that again, you're a very independent person. So it isn't as though you lean on other people, but again, it's where I think that you master so many things in your life that it's hard, it's easy for you to give, but it's difficult for you to receive. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely it does.
And so what I want you to do, and this is a really good thing in the year 2020 and even coming into the year 2021, is I want you just to receive more, whether it's just more compliments or more support, or where you sort of focus a little bit more on your self-care. You don't always have to be doing something. You don't always have to be fixing someone. So it's where you sort of redirect your energy almost to your own nourishment, if that makes sense. Yeah, and it's like if we nourish ourselves, then we have a greater ability to nourish other people. And so it's really about just nourishing yourself, whether it's just a massage or you go and, you know, do something that you love to do for yourself. I have your date here, your year 1975. And so this lets me know that for you, you get stuck in your head, that you have a tendency to overanalyze. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And there's a part of you that gets looped in it. So, I mean, which means you have a complicated, complex, no doubt. There's times where you overanalyze and your mind almost becomes a part of whatever you're obsessing about. And so there's no doubt in my mind, oh, just 1 second, you're showing me your hands. So I'm going to the left hand, and this lets me know that you have a cross in your left hand. So there's no doubt that there's a part of you that is deeply spiritual person, and that you bring this forward from a past life. And there's a bit of a backdoor, whether it's your logic versus your faith, but it's almost as if you, because you kind of get stuck in your head a little bit, one thing I definitely would suggest is to create a mantra that you can just calm your mind and say, I don't have to figure it all out right now. I don't have to obsess about the outcome, because at the end of the day, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. And so for you, I want you just to conjure up more of your faith inside of you, and less of your fear, if that makes sense.
Oh, yes.
Okay? And then your day is 14. So you understand that there's a bit of a priestess or a priest inside of you.
No, I don't understand.
What that means is that you're a highly moral person, that you are an empathic person, a very compassionate person, and that a lot of the times you just feel kind of bad about things that happen, that you're very sensitive to any type of person suffering, whether it's an animal, like you don't like seeing any violence really on television or anybody suffering, that for you, when that happens, you're just almost triggered in trying to heal it. Like, does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. And so for you, there's no doubt in a past life, I do believe that you walked with the suffering, and your contract was just to kind of calm them down, but not take on their burden. So there's no doubt that people, when they're going through, a loss, or they're suffering, or they're going through some sort of trauma, that they turn to you. And I just want you just to say to your soul that you don't have to take it on, you don't have to solve it, but you can be here as a witness to help empower and being able to bring strength to that person, so that they can confront whatever issue, as opposed to you sort of healing that. Like, does that make sense?
It does. It really does.
Yeah, and what's really neat is, like, you're this person who is very, very warm and very sensitive, but when you get your back up, I mean, nothing gets through it. Like, does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of this neat, depending on your mood, or depending, it's not like you're this person that kind of just runs around and just absorbs it, like you have a backbone, but at the same time, the people that we love are usually the ones that we try to save. So I believe that in a past life that you came from a place of empowerment and leadership, and that's really one of your sole purposes in this life, is not to save, but in fact to empower. Like, does that make sense to you? Yeah, it's really, it's such a different way of doing it, but you would just love that. Let me just see.
I need to try that, because I've spent the majority of my life trying to save people and trying to feel everything that the people around me feel.
Yeah, but see, I can guarantee you that you have the energy of the Chariot, which for me, when I was doing the download of my deck, the Chariot, I mean, it was such a beautiful download. Like, I literally came into the body of a soldier that was dying, and he was surrounded by his comrades, and he just felt so badly, and he felt in his heart that he had failed. And so having that experience, coming back into this lifetime, that's why you feel compelled to save. It's like, because of what happened, either you felt that you had failed your comrades in a past life, or that it was just so tragic, or that just witnessing war, I mean, it would just help you to understand why you just don't like that kind of conflict. It just re-triggers all that you faced and experienced during a war. Like, does that make sense to you?
It
Yes, and the other thing that's really interesting is that you do have the energy of an armor around you. So one thing that would be really good, 4, 5, 6, 7. One thing that would be really good is for you to see the language of your armor. So, and the way our armor communicates to us is whether we're experiencing something, we can feel it go up, or somebody triggers us, or somebody hurts us, or says something. But one thing I definitely would do, which would be really good for you in this year, is bridge the language of your armor so that you can have a conversation with it. Because there's no doubt in my mind when it comes up, you just retreat with it. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I guarantee that you came here armored in this life, and most chariots experience an abandonment very early in their life that, in fact, they have difficulty kind of working through. And so for you, there's no doubt that you came with a certain amount of caution of other people. And so for you, how that would, you trust, but you don't really trust completely. Like, there's always a little bit of caution underneath it. Just 1 second, I'm just doing a calculation for you. 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. 2004.
Okay.
1995, so you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. 1986.
Times 11.
Yeah. And 1977, when you were 2 years old.
Yes, my sister was born that year.
Yeah, and see, like, this is what I find, right? Like, here for 2, were you the firstborn?
No, I actually was the middle, but in 1995 was when, so my sister was born in 1977, but I didn't find out about her until 1995.
Yeah, so just so you know, like, that for you, it was like, it's a complicated kind of realization of your life. So it's like, it definitely would be like, it's not just because you and I experienced something very similar, only I was like 40 when I found out. And so it's like there you just, like, nothing is real. Like, everything that happened prior to 1995, you would question. And I mean, and so there's no doubt that there's a bridge connecting 77 to 95. And that is what you're trying to shed this year. I mean, this year for you, there's no doubt in mind that it is a shedding year. So often we'll go through a loss, or we'll just let go of something, or we're just releasing things. But it really is a very important kind of time for you. And the really interesting thing that I find with you, Tammy, is the vibration that you're in right now in this year was the very same vibration as when you were born. So this lets me know that not only did you bring that kind of betrayal energy or that protection energy forward from a past life, that you learned very early in your life that you couldn't trust much. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm crying.
Yeah, and just so you know, it's like, you're like, I'm just here to say to you, like, I appreciate what you went through. And it's not just finding out that you had another sibling. You just, it's a complicated kind of realization. But all I know is that you're in a year where you get to work right at that moment, almost before conception. Like, and so I want you to know that you're just, it's just going to be really important for you just to appreciate next year. I guarantee you, which we just have a few more months, we're already coming into the energy of 5. So this for you is going to be such a beautiful healing year. Let me say this to you, Tammy. My mother is a chariot just like you. And I can tell you that she is the most incredible human being that I know. And I mean, you know, and she's 98, you know, like they've got these strong, beautiful wills. I mean, she's outlived everyone in her family. And I'm here to tell you, this is what I say to people all the time. Everyone deserves to have a chariot in their life, by their side, that just keeps. My mother never lost faith in me, never. And so, just so you know, you have a lot of healing that you get to do in the next year, which is going to just absolutely restore. Like, I mean, and there's no doubt in my mind that for you, it would be a real deep wound. So you've left a piece of yourself back in 1977. And then if you look at 1986 and then 1985, they're all connected. All of them are connected. And that's one thing I learned through my recovery, is all of my wounds were connected. They were connected to whatever was going on with me in the present. They were connected what had happened 4 years prior, and then 10 years, and all of that. But then I even discovered that they were connected with a past life. So it's like really being able to appreciate the depth. Like our soul is limitless, if that makes sense to you.
It does. I didn't realize it went back that far, because there's quite a few other things that have happened in this time. Like the year 2013 you mentioned, that was the year I lost my mom.
That's the year, I'm sorry?
That I lost my mom.
Yeah, and so just so you know, she's in your path. And most people know that I lost my dad last year, but you know what? Honestly, his essence will never go anywhere. Ever, 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 ever. It is in my soul. It is a part of my soul. And so, you know, like, it's just, all I know is your life has honored her presence by having that date in your path. Can you please tell me her month?
March.
And the day?
12.
And the year?
1945.
I can tell you something. You want to know something? Maybe you'll get mad at me, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Is that, I mean, honestly, she'd be a bit of a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean that in the most respectful way, but she would have a lot of fear, and she would have a lot of anxiety, and she'd fuss, and she wouldn't be able to sit down and stuff. And I can tell you, she's probably not sitting down now. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. And here's the beautiful thing, darling, is you share the very same energy as your mother. And so this is what I find is so powerful. I mean, I posted something on our page the other day, and it just referred to, you know, whenever I question who I am, whenever I question the type of person I am, whenever I question where I am in my life, all I have to remember is whose daughter am I?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I am a daughter, right? That is so grateful. So for you shared the same energy as your mom, which is very cool. Let me see what was going on when she had you. See this? She wasn't quite in her body when she had you. So there's no doubt that you would have come to this life to kind of anchor her. So just so you know, but I mean, I would, after you know, maybe go later for a nice walk and go have a conversation with your mom and say, you know what? I talked to this numerologist that told me that you're a pain in the neck, but that you know, like, it's all good, right? Like, no doubt in my mind, she would have absolutely loved her children, and she would have just, you know, she just would have been an absolute huge presence in your life. And the fact that she's shown up on your path just lets you know that your soul, your very soul, honors this beautiful connection. And so, and I can say this to you, I mean, with your mom, you know, it would, there's a reason, like, I mean, there would be a reason for her to hide that. And just like my mother, like your mother experienced the same thing as my mother did. And my mother didn't disclose the truth because she was afraid to, you know? And so my heart just went out to her. Like here she had had another daughter and she, you know, like a part of her soul didn't have the freedom to claim her as her child. And that is just heartbreaking, you know. So I celebrate the fact that your mother did that. And I guarantee you it's because she just, you know, she just made it came out. And just so you know, let me draw a card for you. Hang on. Here's your first card. And this really is about a secret. So this secret, if you see this person, it also can be about being silenced. Perhaps your mother was silenced in her life. Often we are silenced by shame. We're silenced by a look. And so, you know, it's quite possible in a past life you did not have the freedom to either speak your truth or communicate how you felt. And so just so you know, I believe you came into this life already with a secret, you know. Here's your next card, and I love this. I love that you got this card. It makes me really, really happy. This is the card that I call the imperfect healer. So this is the reluctant healer. And also, like, she's a leader. So for you, there's no doubt in my mind that you're a spiritual leader. Like, does that make sense to you?
It does, yeah.
Okay. And that for you, there's a part of you that there's times where you feel unworthy of that.
Yes.
Okay, ready? Let me know. Right hand up. Let me know when it's up.
Okay.
Is it up?
Yep, it's up.
I
am
a
a
beautiful, powerful healer. That's right. And I mean, we're going to do it again. Ready? Right hand up. And I am deserving.
That's a hard word for me.
Okay, say it again then. I am deserving of it all. Good for you. And it's like, these are the beautiful passages or affirmations or mantras that we say to ourselves, because often what happens is our soul will have memory, and sometimes we need to heal. Like, that's what I've learned. I needed to heal from the inside out. And so I want you just to say, I am deserving, I am worthy, I'm a beautiful spiritual healer, I'm a spiritual leader, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm thoughtful, I'm giving, I'm transparent. And it's like these beautiful mantras. Like, when my dad passed away, I invested in two 40-inch chow gongs. And these chow gongs cost me a fortune. But one sound from the gong literally just clears all of that stuff away. And so there's no doubt in my mind that it's just like being able to release all of it. I'm going to do your next card for you, and this lets me know that you've been in a bit of a hostage position. And this is where you've been under the influence of someone else's power. It can be where you feel bound or held or caged or controlled, but this definitely comes from a past life. And so for you, there's no doubt in this life where the importance of your freedom and being able to talk openly and just feeling liberated would be of great importance to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Work to it right now.
Yes, just so great. Here's your next card. Look at this. The beautiful, beautiful. This is a card of the gifted. So it lets me know in a past life, just prior to your death, that God came and anointed your crown and basically said, like, You gave so much of yourself. I'm going to grant you and bring you great, you'll come into this next vibration very gifted and a person that inspires and instills huge amount of like inspiration and love and all of that, and so very gifted. So in other words, you walk in a room and the room lights up, that kind of energy. Here is your last card. This is the card of the armor, and so there's no doubt in my mind you would have been armored in 1977, you would have been armored in 1986, you would have, you know, brought more of that armoring in 1995. And in this year is where you get to say, I don't need to be armored anymore, because when we have an armoring around us, then we believe we're somehow at risk, which is just not true. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your reading?
Oh my gosh, did I ever?
And you want to know something? We did it together without Lloyd. And like, I mean, that for me is just such an amazing thing, you know, is being able to really challenge ourselves, like, and stand in our own power sometimes. So I want to thank you so much for texting, and you'll have to keep me posted on how you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so, so much.
You're most welcome, love. Bye-bye. Like, how cool is that? Like, I mean, that to me is just very, very cool. Okay, now I gotta do this. Here we go. So, I can go like here. I'm going to Elizabeth. Oh, there's Miss Carla Hebden. I love you.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? This is Lindsay.
Yes.
Yes, would you spell your name for me?
Elizabeth.
Okay. And I have your birth year here as 2020.
I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong birth date. No.
I was going to say, well, maybe you're...
I thought it was today's date.
I was going, wow, like either she wants, you know, which isn't strange. Like if you want to know your child's energy, like no problem. But what is your birth year, Elizabeth?
1952.
Okay. And so you understand for you that you have a pull inside of you, and this pull is old, and how a pull kind of communicates its energy. It's like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, kind of going back and forth. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yeah.
And that, like, I mean, this is everything in your life, everything in your life. And it's where, no doubt in my mind, early in your life, and perhaps even in a past life, that you would have come here, and it's like your energy was divided. And so it's being able to, it's like, and usually a pull is sort of rooted when there's conflict between our parents as children. Here there's a conflict going on with the parent. Children are kind of pulled. They love their mother, they love their father, so their energy becomes very pulled. So one thing I definitely would do is I would try and go to see if you can feel where the pull is in you. Whether it could be in your heart, it could be in your tummy, you could feel it like just in the energy of your body. And the next time you find yourself in that space, it's where you just go, no, I'm not doing this anymore. It's almost like if you take and you just stop, you actually stop that process. For you, there's going to be a bit of resistance, because this is, I truly feel like it's come forward in a past life. So I don't know if you've ever really experienced a moment in your life without this pull. So, you know, and the one thing that's really amazing with Justice Energy they are incredibly intelligent people, and they're very logical people, but they're all about balance. And so the next time you feel the pull, I want you just to remember me and say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to trust this decision, and I'm not going to go back and forth. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes. And then November, which is 2. So
No, December.
December? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I see. You put in the today's date. Okay, so December, and your month and your day.
27th.
27th. Wow. So you're a record keeper. This is very this is like you understand you're an old soul.
I think so, yes.
Like you would know it. Like even as a little child, like you would just be highly aware and that you're an old soul. And this means that even with your peers, you would feel in a way that you didn't fit because like you just came into this life more developed emotionally, more self-aware spiritually. That you just were older than your peers. Like, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, and for you, like there's no doubt, like most record keepers, they like anything that's gone on in their life, they tend to sort of take a record of it and then they just carry it and they sort of keep it in like a suspended place. They don't really go there, but they are highly aware of the injuries in their life. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes. And so like so you carry the files. So if I were to ask you, why do you carry the files? Like you understand that you carry those files and you don't actually go into the file.
Well, it's hard to forget that it's there.
Right. And so one thing that I definitely, let me see what vibration you're in. Like so far, all the people I've read for this morning are all in a place of letting go of stuff. Like you understand that. Like your soul's kind of prayer right now is to feel lighter, not to feel so responsible, not to feel so weighed down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's so good. I love this. And so this is what I want you to do, okay? You're not going to like it, but I'm now that I've honed in on you, I can hone in on you anytime. Just kidding. But it's like, it's where I want you to write down anyone who has ever harmed you, any experience that has ever wounded you, just all of those experiences, because you don't forget any of them, you carry all of them. And then you'll know that there's a file with every single thing you write down. And then what you can do is you can actually go to the body and see where you're actually holding the file, which is so amazing. Sometimes you may feel it on your shoulders, or you may feel it across your chest, or you may feel it in your stomach, or you may feel it in your lower back. But it's really being able to acknowledge that you're highly and so intuitive, but it's like kind of trying to use that intuition to direct you to the files in your body, because we don't store them all in the same place. We may store some up here, like in our mind, and those ones we tend to just kind of, obsess about a little bit. But does that make sense to you?
It does, yes.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just really good because you're in a shedding year, which is a big thing. Just 1 second, I'm doing a calculation here for you. 2013 would be a big year for you.
Okay.
2004. 1995. 1986.
Yes.
1977. 1968. So you would have been 14. 14? No, you'd have been 16. And then 1959. So you would have been 7 years old. Do you have any idea what was going on with you at 7?
I think we moved.
Okay.
I think we moved house. It was a big deal because my father built the house and, yeah.
Okay. And then when you were 16? That would be another time. And then 25, 34.
Was that 86?
Yes.
Yeah, I had my daughter that year.
Okay, and your daughter's name?
Anne-Marie, all one word,
Okay.
with an E on the
Okay. And in 1986, and the month?
February
And the day?
the 7th.
Wow, you have a soul and a past life contract with your daughter.
What do you mean?
That your connection with your daughter would be very old. And so, I mean, I'm just going to see what vibration you were in when you had your daughter. Like, it would be a soul connection. And that means that if you look at the influence or the type of relationship you had, it would have a fairly significant, like she would have a fairly significant influence on your life, but it's a soul and past life contract.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and what's really neat, like, I mean, it embodies all three of the numbers. So, you know, whether you had a relationship that you felt just like it just blended, or there was a lot of resistance in your relationship, either way, it's like you just have a very, very old connection. Not only do you have a past life contract with your daughter, you also have a soul contract and a spiritual contract with your daughter. So, like, no doubt she'd be like your teacher, like, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so just so you know, I just find it just very interesting. And in 1986, you were in a 9 years. So do you have a memory of what was going on with you when you were pregnant with Anne-Marie?
I was quite sick. I didn't know I had celiac at the time, and it was a difficult pregnancy. That's
right.
Because of the celiac, yeah.
Okay. And so did you have fear that you were going to lose her?
Yes.
Yeah. And so just so you know, that would have been transferred over to your daughter.
Oh, really?
Like, think about it, right? Like, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. From now until July, that's how long we're in the body of our mothers. That's a long time.
It is.
And so if you believe, like I believe, that, you know, if you come from the body of a mother that's quite anxious, that we learn early in life that, you know, life equals fear. And so we'll often just kind of feed that posture because it's what we know. So, you know, it's just interesting for you to be able to sort of connect that and just see. And how it would translate as well is that you might have a bit of an obsession that your daughter's going to be fine, that, you know, you may kind of cling to her and just, I don't mean this in a bad way, but to control, because there would be a fear that something would happen to her. And I do believe that you brought this forward from a past life, so it would just be in a real grip, like, if that makes sense to you.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and so it would be just where, you know, like, it's just one of those, you know, I learned through my own research with my daughter that she in a past life was my son, and that she died a very violent death. She had gotten into a fight with a man who had stabbed her, even though she was a male in this lifetime. But when I discovered it, it just helped me understand why I was so convinced in my soul that something was going to happen to my daughter. And so for you, I guarantee that perhaps in a past life, you may have lost her. You know, you may have been her mother in a past life. Only in that lifetime, perhaps she died, or perhaps you died. So it's like really being able to kind of look at that. Just a second, my power is kind of going out here. So just so you know, it's just something for you to sort of kind of look at. Here comes a card for you, and this really is the card of the person that is in a pull. So this is something that I believe that you came into this life with. Perhaps it may have been very similar for your mother when she was pregnant with you, but that she was in a pull. Either she may have been in a very unhappy relationship, or perhaps there was stuff going on, but all I know is this is the card that really speaks about being pulled between two opposing forces. And so this definitely would resonate in your life at this time. The next card that I have here for you is the Orphan card. And so this lets me know either, you were orphaned, or perhaps you lost your mother, or there would have been some sort of abandonment or loss that you experienced in a past life. So in this lifetime, you would be very sensitive to anyone leaving you. That's one thing that you can sort of look at. There would just be kind of this fear associated with loving someone, that in some way you were going to lose them, or that there'd be the possibility of doing that.
Could I have been the person that would lose my life? Or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, and that's the whole thing. Like, I do these kind of mini readings, but just so you know, like, there's no doubt in my mind that there would be some sort of loss, where either, you were left by your family, or that you could have passed away. But it's more like where you were orphaned. So someone would have left you, either a child or a parent, or, a partner. And so your soul is very sensitive to that kind of thing in this life. I'm going to take you to the next card, and this is of the intuitive. So this lets me know, very powerful person you are, that your power comes from the inside out, that you're a very reflective person, that you go inside. I don't like saying that you feel your gut. Like, to me, it's more about tapping into your records, the Akashic records. So you're very wise. There's a part of your soul that believes that if you were to extract those records, that you would lose your knowledge or your wisdom, and it's just not possible. Our soul is the record keeper, the true record keeper. So I don't need to drag around stuff that happened to me when I was 10, or when I was 15, or when I was 40, because I know that my soul literally is the greatest record keeper in my life. Here is your next card. So this definitely speaks about sacrifice. So it's where either you've given up something, or that you are a person that is very generous of spirit, but it's hard for you to sort of nourish yourself. It can also be where you feel in a bit of sacrifice, where you don't feel deserving or worthy. It can also be in a lifetime where there was scarcity. Like, if you were in fact orphaned, then there would be a scarcity. So it's quite possible that you had starved to death. So there would be sort of a fascination in this lifetime, a very, you may be conservative with throwing out food, or, like that sort of thing. So it's just interesting. Here is your last card, and this really speaks of heartbreak. So there's no doubt in my mind that you would have lost someone in a past life. You would have brought that forward. And so for you, deep down inside, you can sort of revisit that fear of just losing someone, and just being able to kind of go into it and go, wow, like, isn't this powerful? Like, if I did in fact lose my mother in a past life, or if I did in fact lose my daughter in a past life, it would help me to understand why I have this fear that something is going to happen to the people that I love. And it's not that you're crazy, it's not any of those, but it's just this unresolved fear of loss from a past life that is a residual, but absolutely surfaces in this lifetime. Like, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it just helps us, right? Like, I am not a person that puts a lot of energy into my past. Like, I had to go through the records, I had to go through all of that. Yes, I had to do the work, but just because I'm all about past lives, Doesn't mean that I spend a lot of my energy in my past life. It just gives me a greater understanding of why I am the way I am in this particular lifetime, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so you're coming right into a very restorative year. This is where you're going to take back your power. There's no doubt in my mind, a lot of your emotions you would have brought into your body, as opposed to kind of expressing them. It's almost as if you'd absorb them inside of you. And so this would be a really good year just to say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to learn how to express how I feel. And so, yeah, so I think you're just going to, and you'll already feel this, like it would have already been happening, but it's next year, you're just coming into a real year of power. That's for sure. That makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so that's one thing I definitely would do if I were you, Elizabeth, is I'd go to the records. I just see what's in the records. I'd also, like, because you have the energy of 2, which is in fact the record keeper, it's like it's being able to go back and wherever there was injury, if anything happened to any of your children, if there was any type of trauma, I guarantee there's a part of you there that protects it and just feels that you need to keep it. And I'm just here to say that you don't have to worry about that, love, because it is imprinted in your soul. It's just getting rid of some old boxes that you just don't need anymore, if that makes sense.
It does, yes.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your reading?
Yes, thank you so much, Lindsay.
Yeah, you're most welcome. And like, just so you know, 2019 would have unlocked some of your grief. That may have been a very difficult year for you, but it's almost as if you needed to go into that energy in order to be able to release what's going on with you at this time. So just so you know, it definitely would have an impact on you last year as well. Like, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So just so you know. And that's the, and so it's all connected, and so you just connect all of those things, which is just really great. But you have to keep me posted on how you're doing.
I will, for sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. Like, so neat, like this is almost like relief. It's like letting go of stuff. Okay, how am I doing on time? I have a girlfriend coming over. I'm so excited. Let me see, we're doing all right. I'll do another read here. So I'm going to Gabrielle. Oh my God. If I don't get to you today, I will be doing this again on Tuesday evening. My phone kind of...
Oh.
Hi, is this Gabrielle?
Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. Can you spell your name for me?
Gabrielle.
Okay. And your birth year?
2000.
Okay. And so this is the energy of the intuitive. And this lets me know that, like, you understand that your mind is like 10 steps ahead of your experience.
Yes.
And
yes,
like, and that you can't even help it. It's almost as if, like, with you, this is what you're showing me, is that you literally can deal with anything as long as you know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, that fear of not knowing you, like, it literally just lingers and shadows you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes complete sense.
Like, you can deal with anything. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you know what it is. And so one thing I definitely would do, like, for you, it's almost like there's an urgency. Hang on. And this, in your right hand, you're showing me a key. So this lets me know that you're trying to unlock why this is, because you feel that you have no power with this energy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that you're trying to understand why it's there.
Yes.
And that you're searching for a key. And a key really speaks about a spiritual understanding that will unlock you. Like unlock you from fear, unlock you from a grip, unlock you from the dread, unlock you from that space of not knowing.
Yes.
Okay. Your mother's birth year?
82. 82.
Okay. And the month?
August.
And the day?
12.
Wow, you want to know something that's really neat? Like with your mother, like I guarantee in a past life, like she was a person of great importance. And that in this life, that she is definitely a person that inspires and promotes the power of other people. Does that make sense to you?
Complete sense, yes.
And that there's no doubt in my mind, like don't get me wrong, it's like there's no way in this world that you were going to be a bum.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no way, like she would have thought you could have been the prime minister. I mean, like there's no doubt that she'd have a definite expectation of you, but the actual intention would be very pure. But at the other hand, it would feel at times like pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, pressure to please.
Yes.
Right? And like that you don't want to do anything wrong.
Yes.
And see, this is what's so cool about your mother and I. We both have to learn that we don't own our children. And it's a tough lesson. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a tough lesson. But I had to release my daughter and trust that she was going to figure out who she's meant to be in this life. And in a sense, although our souls are completely connected, I was a vessel. I was a vessel that brought her life to this world, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Your month?
January.
And your day?
The 31st.
So you got a bit of your mother in you.
Yeah.
Both of you are stubborn. But I mean, and both of you definitely, like, this is what I find so beautiful, right? Is there's a part of you that is so spiritual and is completely lives your life with that universal truth that whatever's meant to be is going to be, and that you trust everything that happens for a reason. And so there's a part of your soul that absolutely understands and appreciates that. And yet there's another side of you that just has complete fear.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's just interesting to me. And no doubt that you share a past life with your mother. And for you, let me just see. And for you in this life, it's where you just, a lot of the things that you respond to are definitely connected with, and, your history. So there'd be like, if you had gone through something when you were 14, like now, it almost like revert you back to that space. And so that's definitely one thing I would do. It's like unresolved emotional issues from the past that resurface in the future, like in the present. And so it would amplify your anxiety. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and so, that's what I find is so interesting is, like if we're dealing with something right here and now, if it's just that, most of us can get through that. But if there's all this other stuff that surfaces at the same time, we just feel a bit overwhelmed, for sure. There's also a part of you inside that believes you have to prove your worth.
Yes.
And so that means if you believe in your heart that you have to prove your worth, it would be hard for you to sit down.
Yeah.
Right? Ready? Let me know when your right hand's up.
My right hand's up.
Okay? I am committed in the year to release, in the year 2020, to release myself from the energy of pressure. You tell me a day in your life you haven't felt pressure.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That's right. And that pressure, that feeling, that energetic feeling of pressure pushes your life. Would you agree?
Yes.
And that push, underneath it, is an anxiety.
Oh, definitely.
And what's really interesting to me is, would you agree that you're a very inspired person, like inspired by creativity, that you're a person that loves to learn and you love to teach and you love to promote and all of that?
Oh, yeah, completely, definitely.
So let me ask you a question. Would you prefer to be pushed by inspiration or by fear?
Inspiration.
Good. I want you to put your right hand up and tell me when it's up.
It's up.
Okay. I am a beautiful, inspiring force. Good for you. Like, wouldn't you just rather own that?
Yeah, definitely.
And so I want you to keep saying it, like, because with you, you're stubborn. Like my best friend, I mean, like, she has a lot of your aspects, and she's coming to see me today, and I'm so excited. I've missed her so much, but she's very much like you. I mean, like, she just glows, but she puts herself under tremendous pressure. And I mean, she's probably the most inspiring person I know. And so just like you, it's like people, like, you are a person that is a hero. You bring the energy. If somebody says, oh, you can't do that, you look them straight in the eye and say, you just watch me do it. Like, you're very, very, like, unlike your mom, she's a little bit more reserved, whereas you get to just bust down all sorts of barriers because of your spirited nature, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and like your mom would love that. I mean, there'd be times where she'd be going, like, I don't know if you should do that, but like you would just say, I'm going to do it anyways. It's going to be good. So I don't want you to be afraid of doubt. It's like you're an original thinker. There's no doubt in my mind that, you know, for you, you're very selective of where you put your energy. There's always something for you to do, and you're inspired to do it, which is fabulous. I just don't want you to be pushed by pressure that you have to do something. It's like, I don't have to do anything. Like this morning, I never thought I was going to get up and read today, but I just went, Lloyd isn't here, and I'm going to just do it. And so it's like just being in that place where you just go with the flow sort of thing. Hang on. 1993, what was going on with you then? Do you know? You would have been 7.
7. I was born in 2000.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, 1995. Sorry. Oh my gosh, you got like a tiny little pal. 1995. Sorry. What was going on when you were 5?
Nothing. I wasn't born yet.
Oh no, I got my calculations wrong. So sorry. Hang on.
That's okay.
You were born in 2000. That's insane. Yes. Okay, hang on. So I get all excited and I got all messed up. The other lady did that. So this would be 19. Okay. 2012.
Me and my mom took a road trip, just me and her, to the States. It was just like a spur of the moment kind of thing.
Okay, and what happened there? Like, where were you?
We just traveled through the States. We went through like Nevada. We were going to Salt Lake City to see my mom's best friend, but we went through like California. We just kind of did like a straight beeline towards Salt Lake City.
Right. And so, and why, and what was the purpose of going? Like, what sort of motivated that?
It was just kind of spur of the moment. I stopped seeing my stepdad that year, and when my sister went off to go see him, me and my mom just kind of stayed home, and then the one day she just told me to get in the car, and we just started driving.
And see, what's just really interesting, don't you think that's interesting? That's the year you stopped talking to your stepfather.
Yeah.
So why? Why did you stop talking to him?
Just a lot of years of lying, like, to me, lying about what happened in the past, the pain he brought me and my mom. I just couldn't handle him as a person anymore.
Right, and all I know is there's no doubt in my mind that you were also protecting your mom.
Yes.
Like your number one motivation was to protect her.
Yes.
So what do you think you were protecting her from?
I'm not entirely certain. Because it's kind of hard for me to say, like, exactly protecting, but it was just more so me, I guess, in a sense, being angry at him for myself, but also for her, in a way, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and all I know is, I mean, where's the biological father?
He's still in connection with me. I see him once in a while, every weekend.
Okay, and so when did your parents split? How old were you?
My stepdad my mom divorced my stepdad in 2008.
Okay. And the biological father?
They were together when I was born, so it was pretty much just, like, I don't really know how to describe it.
Don't you love that? Like, do you hear what you just said? It's huge. It is huge. I mean, do you see now why you're under pressure, love?
Not quite.
Here's a female who was pregnant with a child, and the child's father is not there.
Yes.
Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I think so.
That there'd be pressure because she would be like a single mother.
Yes.
And so do you see how you're kind of being presented to your mom's life at that time would have put her under pressure, not because she's pregnant with you, but because she's single and pregnant with you.
Yeah, and she was also 17 at the time.
That's right. So do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so great. Like, this is what I believe. 3 things we need in our life. We need the love and expression of love from our mothers, the love and expression of love from our fathers, and seeing the 2 of them loving each other. And if we don't receive all 3 of those things, it changes how we feel in this life. It changes how we value ourselves. It changes how we love. It changes how we communicate. It changes, like, and so any child, and it doesn't matter, and it's like innocent, right? But it's where our fathers are absent when we're born. It has a spiritual impact because we don't bring that energy of our father into our life, right? And so there's no doubt in my mind, if I were you, that's where I would definitely go first. It's almost as if, you know, and you know, if you have an opportunity to talk to your mom, but it's being able to release her, because I guarantee you that would have a huge impact on her. Like, were you the firstborn?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just so neat, right? Like, I mean, there's no doubt, and trust me, she wouldn't have it any other way, but it's just, you know, it's no different than clients that I talk to, and they'll say, well, you know, my mother got pregnant with me, and, you know, then there was a battle, and so my parents split up as a result because my dad didn't want to have a child. It's like, wow, that's quite a burden to carry around. So it's about being able to release yourself from that. And what I really love is you're in a releasing year. And so it's almost as if you revert back to the womb and you just make peace with that space. It was meant to be that way, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, and like, because if you look at your numbers, you have a 2 in your birth year. So this is all about past life. And so because, you know, and I was 17 when I had my daughter, and trust me, I wouldn't want it any other way. but it definitely puts a different spin on you. You grow up fast, like life, you know, it's not easy because you're still kind of a baby yourself. And so it definitely creates a bit of a pressure on that child, and they feel responsible. And so that's one thing I definitely want for you, is I want you just to be able to say, wow, okay, those are the circumstances in which I came into this life. But like, you know, here I am, like I'm 20, and like I'm just going to let that go, and I'm just going to honor the release of that, because it's happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. And there's no doubt in my mind that your life gave your mother purpose, and your life gave your mother direction. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. And that like, if you were to ask her, the moment she laid eyes on you, her whole world changed. Like, you know, her whole world changed. Like, there was color in her world for the first time. So it's just very, very cool to me. Let me pick some cards for you.
Hi.
All right, I'm just doing this. I'm going to speak. Okay, here's the first card. So this speaks of a fracture. So this lets me know, as a child, there definitely was a soul fracture that you experienced. And so this would be a piece of yourself that kind of came behind, or you left behind. So it's like really being able to sort of go there. And this would be also a past life experience that you would have brought forward. So it's like just being able to know that definitely something happened early in your life that would have caused you to feel like you have to be in a grip, or you have to kind of know what's coming, or that there's a dread energy inside of you, or there's a fear of something happening that you don't know what it's going to be. And so I definitely would go back to that space and just be in that space until you just feel more calm. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. This one here, which is very cool, this lets me know in a past life that you in fact were a guardian, and that you were drawn to people that were suffering, and people that were sick, and people that were dying, and that you ensured that no one left this earth feeling alone. This is the card of the empath, the compassionate. It's just that person that no matter what, highly devoted, just will never leave. I mean, you're a very devoted soul to the people that you love. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, complete sense.
Yeah. Here's your next card, and this is the energy of dread. So this is just that fear we were talking about. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that something happened to you early in a past life. So, you know, it's like then, because you were so aware, then you would be highly aware of everything in all of your environment. And for you, just because you're very sensitive, you would feel things almost before you would see them, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and there's also a part of you actually that feels that you know, like you just have to be on guard in case your services. So like, I mean, let me just say, if you're standing in line at Timmy's and somebody's being rude, like I guarantee you would say something. You know what I mean? Like you would absolutely say something, but when it comes to your own suffering, that you don't really do that. Like it's more where you kind of will absorb that into your body, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, here, this is another card for you. This is the outcast card. So this can be like in a past life, perhaps you were outcast, you were on the streets, that you had lost all your possessions, that you lost your home, that you felt kind of thrown away. So this definitely would help you to understand why like that pressure is so prevalent in your life, because part of it could be that you lost everything in a past life, and that as a result of that, you just feel incredibly, there's a fear of loss, whether it's your home or whether it's, you know, money or whatever. So there definitely would be an anxiety in terms of losing it all. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's like, it's just interesting. Here is your next card. This is the energy of the shaman. So this lets me know that you are a shaman, that you definitely have a lot of energy that is connected to the earth, that you're an herbalist, that you're an alchemist, that you're a person that believes in a power outside of yourself that sort of runs through you. It also lets me know that there's a part of you that draws a lot of attention because of your abilities, because of your leadership. And so no doubt in my mind that that you bring shamanic medicine to this world. What kind of work do you do?
Right now I'm just a student, but I've done teaching kids, tutoring, going and being like a helper teacher in a co-op.
Yeah.
And I've also worked with like communities and stuff.
Yeah, and I could literally see you like as a lawyer, as an advocate.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, not just like an advocate. Like, I definitely could see that. So I want you just to be open. Like, and there's no doubt in my mind that you bring this energy to inspire, like, sort of like a self-awareness, and for people to be able to restore their own balance. It's where you pride yourself in being able to really encourage and inspire people to step in their power. And this is what I believe is your life purpose, is to be that person that not only motivates, but that sets that example through your leadership, through your experience, through your devotion, and through your ambition. And so it's just very, very cool. Next year, there's no doubt that you're going to be in a very restorative year. You're going to come back into your power. Last year there would have been something that would have kind of connected you with your grief, that there would have been some sort of loss last year.
I'm not entirely certain.
Okay, and this would be kind of like an emotional awakening, like, and it doesn't have to be like this dramatic thing, but it's where your fear would have surfaced, and when you'd say, I'm not doing this anymore, like, I'm not doing this anymore, I don't want to put myself under pressure. And that also would have kicked in 1998, which would have been your 5-year. So that's where you would have renegotiated contracts in 2018. So just so you know, it's like in 2018 you would have drawn a line, and so it's like just being able to look at that, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and so just so you know, it's just kind of cool. It's like you draw a line, then you step into your emotion, and then this year is like a shedding year, and then next year is going to be a really restorative year. And so, I mean, think about it. Like, do you have any children?
No.
That's right. So you think about it. Like, here's a beautiful young lady who doesn't have any children, because you can ask your mama, the moment you have children, the days of not being worried are over. You know what I'm saying? So this is like a really beautiful time for you, and I just think that you're going to come into a greater awareness of yourself next year. But I think whatever you do in terms of your work, I guarantee that you are going to be like a leader. Like, you're not just going to be satisfied being the assistant. You know what I mean? You've got more drive in you than that, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Did you enjoy your reading?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you got double L. I mean, this, like, honestly, like, I think that you are destined to be, I don't know, you're going to figure it out, but I just think that you have this incredible gift, and I can just see you being in a position of power. So I don't want you to settle. I want you, and I know for you, once you get that fear sort of sorted out and that dread sorted out, like, can you imagine the possibilities for you would be unlimited. So, it's like, I just want you to promise me that you don't play it safe.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to play it safe and go, okay, well, I'm going to do this job because it's a good job. It's like, no, I need the challenge. And I know if I focus my energy, I can make the impossible possible. So I don't want you, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be in a position of great power. And so I don't want you to just play it safe, okay?
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, and so it just don't play it safe, because deep down inside, it would sort of take away your fear, I guess, if you did that. But at the same time, there's this beautiful spirited energy inside of you that loves to overcome great odds, that loves to prove your worth, that loves to be challenged, that loves to learn. And so I want you to reach, I want you to reach just a little bit higher, just so that you're just a little bit nervous. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. You have to keep me posted.
I will. Thank you.
You're most welcome. You have a beautiful afternoon.
You as well, Lindsay.
Okay, bye, love.
Bye.
Like, I mean, almost everybody that I read for today, definitely going through lots of major changes and all that, and it's just so amazing. And so I just want to thank everybody who texted in. My girlfriend's going to be here in about 15 minutes, so I've got to get myself off of here. Thank you very much for watching. Have a beautiful Sunday. And if you would like a reading, I'll be back on Tuesday evening. But this was kind of like this beautiful, spontaneous thing that we did together today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love. Bye.